A faint sense of unease brushed against Han Li's heart. It was subtle, so fleeting, that an ordinary cultivator would have dismissed it as mere imagination. Yet to Han Li, whose spiritual sense had once stood at the peak of the cultivation world, such a feeling never arose without reason. Somewhere ahead, unseen beneath layers of concealment, something did not belong. Whether it was a lurking danger, a sealed secret, or a presence steeped in decay, he could not yet tell. But one thing was certain: the moment he stepped into Guaning Prefecture, the tranquil journey he had envisioned was already at an end. And this gathering on Snowmound Mountain might be far more than a simple trade fair. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. In Wuyuan Prefecture of Liao Province, there lay a small western town known as Xinan. Beyond its outskirts, two slender women clad in azure Taoist robes were making their way toward a secluded, desolate mountain. A soft white radiance shimmered beneath their feet. With a light tap of their toes, they rose effortlessly from the ground, their figures floating as though weightless. Their robes fluttered and lengthened in the wind as the two women glided through the air at low altitude, graceful as drifting clouds. The younger of the pair appeared no more than 18. A trace of gloom lingered between her brows as she spoke to the slightly older woman beside her. Senior Marshal Sister Lu, will Master truly not intervene? Even if we add Junior Marshal Sister Cao, I fear we still won't be able to handle Wu Xiaoyu of the Sharp Spirit Sect. He has already reached the 8th layer of qi condensation, and it's said that the sect master values him highly. We are only at the 6th and 7th layers. Even working together we would stand little chance. And if we lose, Junior Marshal Sister Cao would be forced to allow Wu Xiaoyu to rescue that heavy criminal. I fear this would bring calamity upon her father. There is nothing to be done, the elder Marshal Sister sighed softly. Cultivation sects have always refrained from meddling in mortal governance. Junior Marshal Sister Cao is merely an in-name disciple of our profound Jade sect, and received only a few shallow techniques from Master. That is why the matter was not pursued further. After all, the government keeps a handful of low-grade loose cultivators precisely to deal with such affairs of the cultivation world. However, Wu Xiaoyu shares deep ties with the one he seeks to rescue, and he knows of Junior Marshal Sister Cao's connection to our sect. When he personally came knocking, we could no longer turn a blind eye. Still, Master used Cao's in-name disciple status as a shield, rather than punishing her. She sent someone else to handle the matter instead. After that person departed, Master summoned us at once. She believes Wu Xiaoyu will challenge Junior Marshal Sister Cao directly to force her retreat. Master knows how close we are to Cao and sent us to warn her. It's clear she intends for us to lend some support. Otherwise, she would have simply sent a message by Spirit Bird. As for Senior Marshal Sister Yu, although her cultivation runs deep, she lacks a close relationship with Cao and would never risk offending the Sharp Spirit Sect over this affair. And Master herself. Given the cordial ties between our sects, it would be awkward for someone of her seniority to interfere. The younger woman could not help but add, I remember when Junior Marshal Sister Cao's father, Country Officer Cao, was stationed near our temple. He was robust and always showed great respect to Master. If he is truly implicated in this affair, the consequences would be disastrous. If that is fate, then there is nothing we can do, the elder replied calmly. Even if he loses a criminal at worst, he would only lose his official post. His life would not be in danger. Still, Junior Marshal Sister Cao seems remarkably composed. Could it be she already has a plan? The younger woman smiled faintly. There's no need for Senior Marshal Sister to worry. Everything will become clear once we reach the mountaintop. You're right, the elder nodded. The two hastened onward. By the time it would take to finish a simple meal, they reached the mountain summit and both cried out in surprise at the sight before them. 300 meters away stood an unexpected straw cottage. Before it rested a plain stone pavilion. At a stone table sat a young man and a young woman conversing quietly. The man's features were unremarkable, his complexion pale, yet his bearing was calm. The girl, delicate in appearance, listened with rapt attention. The instant the two women arrived, the man sensed their presence. He halted mid-conversation, turned to the girl and said with a faint smile, "Fellow Taoist Cao, your guests have arrived." He rose to his feet. The girl followed suit, smiling warmly. "Senior Martial Sisters, you've come. It's so good to see you." The elder Martial Sister beamed upon seeing her. "Junior Martial Sister, you seem to be doing quite well. Yea, your cultivation has advanced an entire level. Congratulations." "I only managed a breakthrough in the past few days," Cao Mengrong replied, her voice tinged with excitement. "I'm still far behind the two of you." The younger Martial Sister examined the Confucian-robed man with curiosity. "Junior Martial Sister Cao, may I ask which sect this fellow Taoist belongs to? His cultivation seems quite high, around the 10th layer." The man answered calmly, "Han Li, a loose cultivator. I am Lady Cao's guest." "So that's how it is," the elder Martial Sister said with a knowing smile. No wonder Junior Martial Sister Cao remained so calm. With an expert like fellow Taoist Han present, Wu Xiaoyu would only humiliate himself by issuing a challenge. "Senior Martial Sisters, please sit," Cao Mengrong said cheerfully. Although Brother Han is a loose cultivator, he possesses deep experience in the path of cultivation. My recent breakthrough was possible only because of his guidance. "Oh, then we must certainly speak with fellow Taoist Han." Before the elder could finish, a series of shrill cries echoed from below the mountain. "He's here." How did he learn of this place, and so quickly? The two senior Martial Sisters rose in alarm and turned toward the sound. "Please don't be alarmed," Cao Mengrong said calmly. "I was the one who invited Wu Xiaoyu. He sought me out several days ago, and with Brother Han's consent, I invited him here." "So that's how it is," the younger Martial Sister said, regaining her composure. "It seems we were still too slow even while rushing." After all, they now had a 10th layer cultivator on their side. At that moment, a sphere of white light descended upon the mountaintop, two silhouettes faintly visible within. "A flying magic tool, and he's brought an escort," the younger woman exclaimed. Cao Mengrong exchanged a glance with the elder Martial Sister, worry flickering across their faces. Flying magic tools were exceedingly rare. Even the lowest grade ones far surpassed the value of mid-grade magic artifacts. Low-level cultivators like themselves could never afford such treasures. Any magic tools they possessed had been bestowed by their sect, and without further advancement, they would likely own only a single artifact for their entire lives. Moreover, cultivators granted flying tools almost always had powerful backers. This was especially true among small sects like theirs. When the newcomers landed, Han Li merely glanced at them, his expression unchanged. It had been 9 months since Cao Mengrong had rescued him. Whether due to his injuries being less severe than expected, or his pills proving more effective, he had recovered a portion of his strength during his stay, enough to restore his foundation establishment cultivation. Though his vitality remained damaged and much of his blood essence unrecovered, he now possessed the power to defend himself in the cultivation world. Naturally, Cao Mengrong was incapable of perceiving this transformation. She often sought his advice regarding her cultivation troubles. As a mid-nascent soul cultivator, Han Li was vastly overqualified to guide a mere qi condensation disciple. With only a few casual remarks, he dispelled her doubts. Overjoyed, Cao Mengrong treated him with ever greater respect. His guidance had allowed her to advance to the 4th layer of qi condensation, bringing her one step closer to becoming an official disciple. Han Li, meanwhile, had already planned to depart within the month. Cao Mengrong had explained to him the general state of the great Jin cultivation world, and though he possessed pills suitable for qi condensation cultivators, they were far too precious to distribute casually. Opportunists and bandits were abundant, especially in Great Jin, even more so than in Heavenly South. Unexpectedly, Cao Mengrong soon received a warning letter from her master. Panicked, she turned to Han Li for help. Upon hearing that an 8th layer cultivator intended to challenge her, Han Li agreed without hesitation to fight in her stead, using the duel as his opportunity to leave afterward. Though the newcomers were shrouded in brilliant light, Han Li saw them clearly. One stood at the 8th layer of qi condensation, the other at the 11th. Neither warranted concern. As the three women remained frozen in shock, Han Li stepped out from the pavilion. Raising his head, he said evenly, "I will fight on fellow Taoist Cao's behalf. Do you wish for a simple duel or an all-out battle?" The sphere of light dissipated. Two figures emerged. A middle-aged man with narrow eyes snorted a wooden board magic tool clutched in his hand. "Good thing I came. Otherwise, junior martial brother Wu might have suffered a loss. Your face is unfamiliar, but your cultivation is impressive. I'll be your opponent. Let's fight, words can wait." Beside him stood a tall man in his 30s, his gaze icy and sharp. Wu Xiaoyu. The elder martial sister gasped, "Ma Yulin, you're an enforcer of the sharp spirit sect. How can you openly interfere in another's affairs?" Ma Yulin replied coldly, "Fairy Lu seems unaware I am no outsider. Junior martial brother Wu and I share family ties. Assisting him poses no issue." The younger martial sister's face paled. Cao Mengrong hesitated at a loss for words. Han Li glanced once more at Ma Yulin and smiled faintly, a hint of mystery in his eyes. "Then let us begin at once. I have urgent matters to attend to afterward." Ma Yulin sneered. He stowed away the wooden board and drew instead a small yellow pitchfork from his storage pouch. When the three women saw that Han Li and the middle-aged man, Ma Yulin, were about to clash, they unconsciously retreated a step, scarcely daring to breathe. From their perspective, a battle between two high-level qi condensation cultivators was a rare spectacle. To Han Li, however, facing a qi condensation cultivator was scarcely worth his attention. He merely stood where he was, hands clasped behind his back, calmly waiting for his opponent to make the first move. Ma Yulin's face darkened at Han Li's blatant disregard. Rage flared within his chest. With a sharp motion, he raised the small yellow pitchfork, muttering an incantation as his free hand formed a rapid series of seals. Moments later, the pitchfork trembled violently before erupting in a flash of yellow light, shooting forth like a streaking meteor straight toward Han Li. Han Li's expression did not change. He showed no intention of summoning a magic tool. Instead, he casually raised one hand and flicked his fingers. A dozen talismans flew out at once. Each talisman ignited mid-air, transforming into a fist-sized fireball that surged forward, colliding head-on with the incoming yellow streak. Ma Yulin sneered inwardly. The yellow windfork was a mid-grade magic tool personally bestowed by his master. How could a few lowly fireballs possibly stop it? Still, he had no desire to recklessly test his artifact. Hastily adjusting his incantation, he caused the yellow streak to veer sharply, weaving past the fireballs in a smooth arc before lunging once more toward Han Li from another angle. Han Li smiled faintly. He pointed lightly at the fireballs. In an instant, they froze in mid-air, then surged together, condensing into a blazing mass the size of a cartwheel. The flames twisted violently, elongating into a 3-meter-long fire serpent that shot forward with a hiss, coiling tightly around the flying pitchfork and locking it firmly in place. Ma Yulin's heart jolted. He frantically poured all of his magic power into the yellow windfork, attempting to force it free. The pitchfork flared with dazzling yellow light, but instead of escaping, it became further entangled, the fire serpent tightening like a living vice. A shrill hum rang out. The light of the magic tool rapidly dimmed, its tremors growing erratic, a clear sign that it was on the brink of destruction. Ma Yulin's face drained of color. No longer daring to persist, he shouted urgently, "Stop! Fellow Taoist's magic power is profound. I concede defeat." Han Li nodded slightly. With another gesture, the fire serpent loosened its grip and dispersed into drifting embers, vanishing into the air. The entire exchange had been effortless. The three women in the pavilion stared in stunned silence. To them, the outcome was nothing short of astonishing. Wu Xiaoyu's expression twisted into something unsightly. He hesitated before muttering, "Senior Marshal Brother Ma." "Enough," Ma Yulin snapped, cutting him off. You've seen it clearly. Even with the yellow windfork, I am no match for him. Your nephew's fate has already been decided. He quickly retrieved his magic tool, breathing a quiet sigh of relief upon confirming it remained intact. Yet deep within a new fear of Han Li had taken root. He had no intention of provoking such a terrifying opponent again. Wu Xiaoyu burned with resentment, but he knew better than anyone if even his 10th layer senior martial brother stood no chance. Then he himself was utterly powerless. With nothing more to say, the two sharp spirit sect cultivators departed the mountain, their hearts filled with anger and unwillingness. As for the three women, they immediately surrounded Han Li, eagerly questioning him about the techniques he had just used. Han Li responded with a practiced explanation, vaguely describing it as clever manipulation of low-grade techniques. Soon after, the two senior martial sisters earnestly asked him about their own cultivation problems. Han Li gave a casual nod and answered them with ease. Time slipped by unnoticed. As dusk fell into night, the three women finally felt it inappropriate to linger any longer and reluctantly took their leave. The next day, when they returned together, Han Li was gone. Only a single farewell letter remained. After reading it, Cao Mengrong stood frozen in place. For reasons she herself could not understand, Han Li's sudden departure left an aching hollowness in her chest, subtle, yet impossible to ignore. Seeing her like this, the two senior martial sisters exchanged glances, both filled with silent dismay. More than 100 kilometers away, Han Li flew steadily through the air atop a flying magic tool, conversing with Monarch Soul Divergence through spiritual sense. Youngster Han Monarch Soul Divergence said, "Have you truly decided to head first to Guaning Prefecture and open the Feng clan's secret cave?" Of course, Han Li replied calmly, "I don't know how long the Pestilence Demon's Soul Lock Seal will remain effective. I must find a Buddhist technique to dispel my baleful qi first. Otherwise, it will always weigh on my mind and prevent me from focusing on restoring my magic power. I wouldn't place too much hope in it," Monarch Soul Divergence replied indifferently. "I find it hard to believe that a mere minor Buddhist clan could possess a high-grade technique capable of dissolving baleful qi." Han Li frowned. "I understand, but the Feng clan's secret cave is the most convenient option. If I'm fortunate enough to find such a method, there all the better. Otherwise, I'll have to approach a renowned Buddhist sect, and with my current cultivation, that would be far from easy." Monarch Soul Divergence snorted repeatedly. "Ever since your cultivation fell, even the simplest matters have become troublesome. If you still possessed mid to nascent soul cultivation, you could have simply gone to a Buddhist sect and purchased such a technique using your status alone." Han Li could only smile bitterly. Buddhist sects were notoriously exclusive, even at the mid-nascent soul stage. How could they casually allow a high-grade technique to leave their gates if all else failed? He would have no choice but to infiltrate a Buddhist sect and attempt to steal the method himself. Yet when he imagined the vows and shaved head required to enter, his mood darkened. Perhaps a Confucian sect would be easier, he thought grimly. Wuyuan Prefecture of Liao Province lay along the western border of Guaning Prefecture. Thus it took Han Li only a couple of weeks to cross into Guaning territory. Along the way, he encountered no high-grade cultivators, only the occasional qi condensation or foundation establishment cultivator, passing at a distance. With no reason to interact, Han Li avoided them all and continued onward. Several days later, the land grew increasingly wild. Mortal settlements became scarce, the terrain overgrown and desolate. 2 days after that, Han Li arrived at Falcon Cloud Village. He descended from his flying magic tool and entered on foot. The village was far cruder than any he had seen before. Small in size, it consisted of only 4 intersecting roads. The buildings were all fashioned from yellow mud and scorched wood, giving the place a bleak, weathered appearance. Han Li frowned slightly as he walked through the streets. The weather was bitterly cold, yet he strode calmly in his neat Confucian robes. The mortals scarcely reacted to his presence, as though such sights were already familiar. A trace of suspicion surfaced in Han Li's mind. Just then his expression shifted as two white-robed youths approached, one tall and thin, the other shorter. Both appeared around 20 years of age, their bodies faintly emanating spiritual qi at the 7th and 8th layers of qi condensation. They stopped 10 meters away, caution evident in their eyes. The taller youth clasped his hands respectfully. "May I know Senior's esteemed name? Surely you have come to participate in the Grand Assembly." Han Li paused, then replied with genuine surprise. "The Grand Assembly? I'm unaware of such a thing. I'm merely passing through in search of spiritual herbs." "Didn't I say so?" the taller youth said to his companion. "The assembly began yesterday. If Senior intended to attend, he would already be at Snowmound Mountain." "That's of no consequence," the shorter youth quickly interjected. "Senior still has time. The Grand Assembly is jointly hosted by the three great clans of Guaning Prefecture. There are countless spiritual herbs for sale, including several centuries old, and even a 1,000-year wild monarch ginseng. The gathering is already halfway through, and the final auctions are about to begin. Surely that's far better than combing barren mountains. Many loose cultivators and small sects are trading herbs and materials as well, and our clans levy no taxes." Seeing Han Li's numerous storage pouches and sensing his foundation establishment cultivation, neither youth dared show the slightest disrespect. Han Li's eyes flickered. "The three great clans, Kong, Zhao, and Dong." "That's right," the taller youth replied with a smile. "We are disciples of the Kong clan. We were stationed here to receive arriving cultivators. We didn't expect any more guests and had planned to attend the gathering ourselves, but Senior arrived at just the right moment." Instead of answering, Han Li glanced around. "This village is under direct Kong clan supervision. The mortals seem accustomed to cultivators. That's quite rare." "You're perceptive, Senior," the youth explained. 6 years ago, the village came under the joint ownership of our three clans. Most of the mortals here are clan descendants, so they aren't fearful of cultivators. So that's how it is." Han Li muttered, his expression turning grim. This could be troublesome. The shorter youth's eyes lit up. "Does Senior have other matters to attend to? Please tell us, perhaps we can assist." Han Li pondered silently for a brief moment before speaking in a calm, even tone. "It's nothing urgent. We can speak of it later. Since there's such a large gathering here, I'll first take a look around." The two white-robed youths exchanged glances. The shorter one broke into a smile. "That's excellent. Senior, please allow us to lead the way." Moments later, both youths retrieved disc-shaped magic tools and tossed them into the air, leaping lightly atop them. When Han Li saw this, he flicked his sleeve and released a gleaming flying sword. In a blur, he appeared standing upon it, hovering steadily in the air. At the sight of the sword, the shorter youth's eyes lit up with undisguised admiration. "Senior's magic tool is a high-grade flying sword. You must be an inner disciple of a major sect." "Right, there's no way a sect would bestow such a treasure upon a low-ranking disciple." Han Li chuckled softly. "My sect has a rule: we are forbidden from revealing our affiliation while traveling. I hope the two of you fellow Taoists won't pry further." The youths flushed slightly with embarrassment, but this only confirmed their suspicions. Their respect toward Han Li deepened visibly. Soon after, the three cultivators headed south of the village atop their magic tools. Snowmound Mountain lay not far from Falcon Cloud Village. As they flew, a dark line of peaks gradually emerged on the horizon. Calling it a single mountain would be inaccurate. It was a vast mountain range stretching over 500 kilometers, one of the great ranges of Liao Province. Rumor had it that demons and ghosts lurked deep within its depths. Not only mortals, but even low-grade cultivators would occasionally vanish there without a trace. Their friends and sect mates would form search parties, scouring vast swathes of the mountains, yet find nothing. Despite repeated disappearances, the phenomenon continued until fear slowly drove cultivators away from the deeper regions. Fortunately, such incidents were rare, and most of the missing were low-grade local cultivators. Over time, as fewer dared to venture deep within, the disappearances gradually ceased. Naturally, The grand assembly hosted by the three great clans of Guaning Prefecture was not held deep within this ominous range. Instead, it was located in a town perched atop a lofty mountain at the range's edge. When they finally arrived, Han Li's gaze sharpened. Towering buildings rose across the mountaintop, elegant yet imposing. With a single glance, Han Li discerned that the structures were newly constructed. A contemplative look crossed his face. "Senior, we've arrived," the taller youth said, pointing toward the town below. All foundation establishment cultivators are assigned private rooms. Seniors at core formation and above are given entire buildings. That way, everyone receives accommodations befitting their status. Han Li nodded silently. He extended his spiritual sense, carefully sweeping over the town below. His brow furrowed. There was a nascent soul cultivator here. Whether it was a participant in the gathering or the so-called eccentric Kong mentioned by Feng Yu before his death was unclear. Rumors had not exaggerated. The noble clans of Great Jin truly possessed terrifying foundations. In Heavenly South, even the strongest cultivation clans rarely produced more than late core formation cultivators. Yet what startled Han Li was something else. The nascent soul aura he sensed faintly carried the chill of corpse qi. It was subtle, extremely well concealed, but under Han Li's overwhelming spiritual sense, it was unmistakable. No matter how cleverly hidden, such an aura could not escape careful scrutiny. Could this person be cultivating a devilish Tao or some heretical art? Han Li remembered clearly the Kong clan originated from the prestigious Confucian Heavenly Sage sect, and still enjoyed its backing. For a sect of such standing, harboring or becoming someone like this would be highly inappropriate. While these thoughts churned in his mind, they descended at the village gates and were immediately greeted by 4 blue-robed cultivators. At nearly the same moment, 70 meters beneath the ground, deep within a hidden chamber, the lid of a pitch-black coffin trembled. A pale white hand suddenly thrust out from the gap and shoved the lid aside. A man clad in yellow robes slowly rose from within. He wore a king's crown upon his head and appeared to be in his 30s, though his face bore a look of faint bewilderment. "What was that?" he muttered. I suddenly felt a sense of unease. Was someone spying on me? After a moment of hesitation, he carefully released his spiritual sense, sweeping across the entire mountain, lingering especially on the cultivators gathered above. A long while passed. Finding no trace of another nascent soul cultivator, his brows knit tightly. "Perhaps it was just some old monster passing nearby," he muttered. "The black jade coffin should have completely concealed my corpse qi. It shouldn't have attracted attention." With that, he lay back down. The coffin lid slid shut of its own accord, sealing the darkness once more. Silence returned to the chamber. Back above ground, the blue-robed cultivators directed Han Li toward the enormous central plaza. The plaza bustled with activity, crowded by nearly 500 cultivators dressed in all manner of robes. They were divided into distinct groups, some conversing quietly, others openly trading goods. Vendor booths of varying sizes dotted the plaza. Some set up tables, others spread their wares directly on the ground. The entire place hummed with life. Han Li smiled faintly. He was reminded of the first time he had entered the cultivation world at the Great South meeting. The memory stirred a quiet sense of nostalgia. Yet what truly caught his attention was the massive tent erected at the center of the plaza. It shimmered with white light, clearly a magic artifact spanning over 300 meters in width. Cultivators streamed in and out through its entrances without pause. Han Li's eyes flickered. Nearby stood several stone buildings, glowing faintly with light. Though people occasionally entered or exited them, they were far less frequented than the central tent. A few cultivators lingered nearby, pacing or chatting idly. Aside from the Qi condensation disciples of the 3 clans, everyone present was at foundation establishment stage or above. With a single sweep of his spiritual sense, Han Li detected over a dozen core formation cultivators. Even without counting the hidden nascent soul presence, this alone exceeded what entire major clans in Heavenly South could muster. And this was merely a trade fair hosted by several local noble clans. Han Li couldn't help but sigh inwardly. From the welcoming disciples, he learned that mornings were reserved for free trade, while auctions were held in the afternoon. Anyone with rare materials, magic tools, or treasures could freely exchange them beforehand. The fair would last only 3 days, with the 1,000-year monarch ginseng auctioned on the final day, clearly the main draw for the core formation. Cultivators. After surveying the area, Han Li began strolling through the plaza. As a foundation establishment cultivator arriving on the second day, his unfamiliar face attracted no attention. He blended seamlessly into the crowd. The wares at the booths were mostly ordinary as expected and held little appeal for him. Though some items would have been tempting to foundation establishment or even core formation cultivators, Han Li already possessed far greater treasures. Only a handful of booths selling particularly peculiar materials or strange magic tools drew his eye. Yet with careful inspection, he quickly discerned their origins and uses. After that, they held no further interest. After wandering for quite some time without purchasing anything, Han Li turned toward the central tent. Suddenly, his expression shifted. He stopped and turned sharply. An elderly man with pointed ears and gaunt cheeks stood nearby, staring at him with visible astonishment. His cultivation was at early foundation establishment stage. Han Li's eyes grew cold. "Fellow Taoist, you've been following me for quite some time. Do you happen to recognize me?" "Please don't misunderstand," the old man said quickly, forcing an embarrassed smile. "My name is Jin Yuan. I mean no harm, I was simply curious. Though this is our first meeting, fellow Taoist seems deeply knowledgeable about many of these tools and materials. I couldn't help but admire that." "Oh," Han Li replied calmly, "you're quite observant. But having followed me for so long, I doubt you came merely for idle conversation." The old man chuckled dryly. "You truly are sharp. To be honest, I do have a request." "Go on," Han Li said, folding his arms, his expression indifferent. Jin Yuan's gaze flicked toward the storage pouches at Han Li's waist. His eyes narrowed slightly as he smiled. "I possess a strange treasure. I've been unable to discern its origins or use. I was hoping fellow Taoist could appraise it. Of course, if you can see through it, I'd be willing to sell it. With your background purchasing, it should be no trouble." A strange treasure. Han Li's brow lifted subtly. He studied the old man for a moment, then nodded and gestured toward a side chamber. "Very well. Since you followed me this long, I'll assume your intentions are sincere. Let's speak in a private room. I also have a few matters I'd like clarified." "A private room," Jin Yuan hesitated. "That costs spirit stones. It's rather extravagant." Han Li smiled faintly, a trace of mystery in his eyes. "That's fine. I'll pay. I only hope your strange treasure won't disappoint me." That's all for today's content. See you in the next part. Support me by becoming a member. It will give me more motivation. Thank you so much.